Hey there. How are you? Happy Monday. What is good in your world? It's me, Dr. Andrea here. I'm still in the United States. I am here in Richmond, Virginia. So much is going on, so much I wanted to share with this beautiful tribe of beautiful people. So I want to hear what's good in your world. Are you still fired up, pumped up about life and love and success? Well, today I actually want to get into how to gracefully deal with pain, because I've had some experiences over the last few weeks, personally and professionally, both myself, some very close family members, and some very dear and precious members in this tribe of beautiful, inspiring people. Hello, Margareta. Welcome. And you know me. I am deeply touched by the suffering of others. I'm one of those empaths that I've gotten to a point where I can feel people's energy, emotion, and pain and not totally take it on, thank goodness, because it used to completely knock me on my butt. But now I have greater resources on how to support people as they're going through painful situations. But there were some kind of big ones that came up that all the little positivity and sweet messages was just not going to touch. What's up, beautiful Yvette Taylor? So I'm going to be talking about some things that came up that might be inspirational for you as well. Salut, Romeo. So lovely to have a couple of our authors from Time to Rise, Romeo Cornal in the south of France and Yvette Taylor from Energy Alignment Method. This is going to be good, and I'd love to hear from both of you. I'd love to hear from Romeo, who is an intuitive life coach who deals a lot with toxic relationships and really understanding yourself on this path to self-love. And Yvette Taylor, one of our tribe members as well, who really helps people shift their energy so that their head and their heart and their will is totally aligned so that you can manifest what you want in life. But what happens when you're in the midst of a storm? What happens when life starts falling apart around you? And what happens when you're overcome with emotion or tension? Like Helena Philipson from the Freedom from Emotional Eating, her method is all about really understanding that when we are tempted to give in, whether that's we give in with food or whatever it is that you medicate away your emotional pain with, there comes a point in your life when you don't want to have excuses anymore. And I think most of the people that I connect with who are on this consciousness path, we're all full of positivity and we're manifesting and getting all powerful. And then sometimes life hits us. And I just want to remind you of some of the principles that have helped me, and especially lately. So much love to you, Sarah Kate, Shamoni, my UK peeps. It's lovely to see y'all. This journey towards real self-love and real self-mastery is, I don't know, it's probably the most important and pressing thing on my heart right now. As I just released my new book, I Love You Me. I have to show it to you because I'm so proud. It's here. So I Love You Me just launched, and finally kind of sharing even more in depth about my, all about my experience overcoming depression. I think not a lot of people were aware of the extent to which I was dealing with depression, because you see me now and I'm smiling, which is fabulous. And I want that for everyone. But what I recognized was there were some common things that came up for me recently that had me really dial in to kind of like coming back to my foundational principles. And hello, Gerd, lovely to see you from Norway. Many of us have been talking about through the book, one of the principles is, in this 5-step process to really creating a foundation of self-love. The first and most important is awareness. And when I started to reflect back on the things that really impacted me in creating a framework for my clients and for myself to move in this stepwise fashion towards real self-love, I remembered some training that I had in medical school. And it's crazy. I'm like doing the math, and I can't believe that this is the year that I graduated 20 years ago from medical school. I don't even feel that old. But I digress. One of the things that happens when you go through your medical training as a doctor or a DO or whatever is we go through several rotations of everything. So you'll rotate through pediatrics and general surgery and pediatric surgery and psychiatry and general medicine. And I was thinking back on something that has always stuck with me. And it was during my psychology rotations. One of the things that you recognize, of course, you're always going to be exposed to the worst cases as you're doing your medical training, because, of course, as you're being trained, you want to see a whole spectrum. And one of the challenging things was being at some of either the veterans hospitals or some of the inner city hospitals that kind of, unfortunately, takes a broad spectrum of kind of the worst cases, which always broke my heart because I felt like sometimes these people had no connection to family or friends. They had no advocate for them. And as I would kind of go through the rounds at the hospital, seeing someone who was suffering from some sort of mental health challenge, whether that was schizophrenia or like detoxing off of drugs, the one thing that really struck me was some people, if they were hearing voices, didn't know that those voices weren't real. Now, I don't want to get into a whole conversation because I hang out with a lot of psychics. I don't want my psychics saying, but wait a minute, they might have been channeling. They might have been. That is true. But I'm talking about where you clearly can tell someone is disturbed by voices, whether they're flashbacks or anyway, it doesn't matter. But the bottom line is, even if one is psychic and hears voices from people from the beyond or spirits that are here, the difference between sanity and insanity is insight. And one of my attending physicians really brought that home for me. It's like, okay, you hear voices. Cool. These voices sometimes tell you to do things that are a little dangerous or risky. Now, I hear voices. I've admitted that, and my voices do tell me to do certain things. But the difference is I have the insight and the awareness to, first and foremost, ask, where is this coming from? And or to investigate, is this really the best course of action? And that takes insight. I'm taking way too long to get to the point. Anyway, insight or awareness of who you are and what's, I don't want to say real and not real, because we may have different definitions of the word real, but what's going to lead you towards your highest and best in this life for your health and well-being. If you don't have insight, it's going to be real hard for you to manifest any change in your life, your health, your business, your relationships. And what's up, Ilaria? So lovely to see you and have you here. So here's what came up. In the last, I don't even know how many weeks, couple of months, I have had several people close to me break bones or get terribly, terribly sick. Now I know it's winter and a lot of people are getting this cold and flu and ickiness. I had it myself after flying from New York and anyway. But you kind of wonder, we can blame the cold and flu on the weather and the travel because it's going around. It's at epidemic proportions here in America. But what about these breaks? So many of you know my dear friend Gaia. I'm usually wearing a smiler. She's this beautiful artist from Iceland who has had several quote-unquote crashes. And one of the cool things about Gaia was, I shared this in one of my TED Talks, she had a really bad crash many years ago that left her face what one would have imagined would be totally disfigured. And through her own power of positivity and summoning the energy for healing, she rebounded in less than a week. And I'll have to show you pictures another time. But it was amazing. And one of the things that she has done with insight and awareness is to look over her life. And she wants to look on the positive side. So what she has done is looked at every time she's had a crash, from the economic crash in 2008 that really pushed her in a positive way towards accepting who she is as an artist and getting free on so many levels. But she said something that was really clever, and it is, there's a gift in every crash. And sometimes that gift is a lesson. Sadly, a few months ago, or a few weeks ago, Gaia fell again while she was out on a hike and fractured her arm. And I mentioned she's an artist. She paints and she creates these things called smiler. And she broke her painting arm. But like within a week or two, I started seeing these positive images on social media about, and she's also a joker. She loves humor. So she was, kind of talking about what it meant to have to start painting with her left hand. And she posted something else about the shame and the guilt and things that she had been processing. And I so value that because many times when we're going through a painful experience, we just want it to go away. We just want it to end. We just want to get to that healed place where we can get back on with life. And yes, Margareta, all injuries have a deeper meaning. I so believe that. I so believe that our bodies are oftentimes just a way to communicate with our consciousness. And if you're not tuned into your body, eventually you're going to get something that's screaming at you rather than just hearing these little bitty hints. And so what happens when you're injured? What happens when you're sick? Most of us, when you get really sick, have to unplug. You can't run around and go to work. You can't be caring for everybody else. You have to, at some point, surrender and receive. Meaning either you're going to receive your healing so that, the time for your body to rejuvenate and heal, or you're going to have to receive help from other people. And I know that can be really hard for some of us to actually accept somebody else caring for us. And if you've broken something and now all of a sudden people have to drive you places, or they have to bathe you or feed you or go do your groceries, that can be a real challenge. And so naturally, of course, you want to speed to the healing phase, like get this over with. But I want you to recognize that if this body is trying to communicate something to you, and if you could really have insight and look over your life and see patterns of multiple injuries or multiple circumstances that seem to keep repeating themselves, because life is cyclical. You're going to keep experiencing the same or similar experiences until you get the lesson. Yes, accidents do happen, but sometimes there's a pattern. So Margareta says it's the same for illnesses. Sometimes it's hard to digest, but true. What's up, Karan? Good to have you with us. So imagine then that you've had an injury or an illness, and now you have to be still. You can't be running around. Now, your body may be still, but what's going on in your mind? And this is the crux of what we have to talk about today, because it's pretty easy for us to get in that obsessive mode of trying to heal faster or rushing to get back up on our feet. But sometimes you need to be still and know the I am, or God, or that spiritual message. Now, what I mean is that I don't want that to get all philosophical or esoteric or way too spiritually woo-woo. But what if the universe is guiding you and trying to show you where you're lacking insight and awareness? So if you're stuck in bed, and many of us have been there with the flu lately, it's easy for us to just kind of turn on Netflix or watch a movie or whatever, play solitaire until, we feel better. And many of us do that because we're afraid to listen and to be quiet. Or we have that mental chatter going on about what we should be doing, what we must be doing, that we get into this obsessive state where we just can't be still. And so I wonder if you're able to rest and remain open to that divine wisdom and guidance. So our challenge is really to surrender and be more introspective instead of externally focused. And the reason that I have been just sort of reminded the contrast that exists for people who are really tuned in versus people who just don't want to deal with the pain. Here's the other piece of it. All right, so I've been, what's up, Dr. Janet? Another contributing author to Time to Rise. Glad to have you. So here's the other thing that this took me back to in terms of my medical training. So I was mentioning that in the medical training world, as we're going to medical school and nursing school and other schools, you end up doing these rotations. You rotate through several disciplines to just experience them and to learn. And I remember going into pediatric surgery for a rotation. Now here's the thing. You could see a child who had just had their appendix removed, and they'd be laying in their room, and they wake up from surgery, and they're kind of groggy. They want their mommy because they're kind of out of it. But after just a few hours, they're kind of like, I'm hungry. Can I eat something? I saw the playroom down the way. Can I go to the playroom? And you're like, whoa, slow your roll. You got to give your body a chance to heal. But it's like that will to get out is just like, okay, body, whatever, I want to go do and play. And most kids that I saw in my rotations would get to a point where they're saying, this place ain't so fun, I want to go home. Now, they had just undergone major surgery, and if anyone out there has ever had appendicitis, you feel really sick for some days and intense hours before you get to surgery. Now, that's the example of a 5-year-old who had an appendectomy. Let's contrast that with a 45-year-old. So when I got to my general surgery rotations, which is adults, maybe some teens, but in the adult population, I could see somebody with the exact same injury or surgery, like having their appendix taken out. But here's the difference. You might go to that person's room and check in and be like, all right, Mrs. Jones, how you doing? They kind of wake up, I really have a lot of pain. And they've been pushing that little morphine delivery system where they're pushing the nurse button asking for more pain meds. Pretty painful operation, no doubt. But then I noticed on the second day, they'd be like, so how many days do I get off, in my little prescription before I have to go back to work? And some of them didn't want to go back to work, so they were trying to milk it. So what's the contrast here? You've got the 5-year-old who's like, oh, I just want to get out and play. Can I get out of this place? And sure, they may have been in pain, but they're not begging for more pain meds. And then you have this 45 or 55 or 65-year-old who's just like, ugh. Now, yes, of course, there are differences in the body and our healing and our resilience and our ability to bounce back after injury. But what was really the difference? Part of it is their mindset. Part of it is this desire to use the pain as a way to get stuff, whether that's time off or more pain meds or sympathy, especially when everybody starts, some people like the fact that everybody's doing stuff like, oh, I don't have to do the dishes and do the chores. Okay, I kind of like this. Have you ever known anybody like that who's kind of milked an injury just to get some of the, fringe benefits? What's up, Faida? Let's see what you guys have said. Shimoni says, you agree sometimes illness is the only way God knows you will stop and reflect, make internal changes, and it's the only spirit knows that you will get off the treadmill. Yeah. And Janet says, you can see rest as being a time to shut down from all the noise and be peaceful in a forced, quiet space. So how many of you are able to do that? Can you be peaceful in a forced, quiet space and go within? Because that's the thing that was striking. So I've been here in the United States. Some of you may know this. What's up, Melvin? I am here with my daughter, who is really excited about making a transition into art school. Big transition. For me, for mommy. We've been in the south of France for the last 7 years. And we got to this point where it was like, it's time. She's had a lot of amazing opportunities for her new charity, for writing, for blogging and vlogging, painting and drawing. I have a little artist on my hands. So we made this decision, and things have been a little unstable, unsteady, We're here in Richmond, we're looking at different schools, we're connecting with family. I had a book launch all at the same time, Christmas, New Year's, clients, crazy. And there was a moment when Sienna said, oh, I'm really looking forward to this chaos being over. And I just kind of looked at her like, I get that. But instead of what I would be doing, which is trying to make it all go away, she doesn't have that mindset. She's aware that some of this stuff just takes time. There's enrollment and tours and requesting documents from the other school and all this stuff. And it struck me how we as adults can get to this place where we're really uncomfortable. And granted, Sienna and I do a lot of meditation together and Qigong, and we talk a lot. We verbalize a lot about what we're feeling, what we're going through. There's just a lot of insight and awareness. So the question I have for anyone else who's going through a painful, stressful, somewhat unstable situation is, can you use your alone time to unplug, and without that frantic desire or need for the outside world to shift or change or match up with what you think you should have, are you willing to just be present and allow it to be? Now, that doesn't mean you're not taking steps to get well and, managing life that you as well as you can from your sickbed, but it's more about non-judgment. It's more about becoming that non-judgmental witness. In other words, rather than identifying with your physical body, we're tapping more into the consciousness that is really you. The consciousness, the soul, the spirit, whatever you want to call your real you. That part that's still connected to the divine. Can you, one, be still and tap into the I am consciousness and ask, what's the lesson here? So I mentioned Yvette Taylor, who was on with us at the beginning of this, and one of the things that the energy alignment method is really great at is clearing away, resistances and blocks that might be keeping us sick or broke or lonely, right? But one of the things that we have to be willing to do, we have to be willing, in my opinion, to look at the patterns. Because all the magic wands, all of the healing techniques and modalities that I've seen in the last 20 plus years, they can be symptomatic relief. Or if you really get down to the crux of why you ended up in the situation you're in, when you can take that insight and awareness and get the lesson, then any clearing techniques that you do can truly clear you so you're ready to move on to that next level of manifestation. But if you're still in that spot of wanting to fix everything and make it go away as fast as I can, then you're bound to have that experience come up again. And I think what was really interesting about reading this post, and I'll have to share it with you, from Gaia, was she was able to recognize that she needed a break. And she didn't want to ask for it. But when she finally was given a break from work, because the stress and the overdoing, the overgiving, any other rescuers out there where you jump in to help everyone and to your own detriment, once she actually got the break from work, then she went into self-judgment. She was saying in this post that she was just like, who are you? How dare you take time off when there's sick people and people need help and da-da-da-da. But what about her? And so in her own thinking, she said, wow, I had to break my arm and literally become immobilized just to finally get that break. So what about you? Are you willing to look at the pain that you're in with a little more grace and stillness and quietness? Are you willing to recognize that it's almost like our pain gives us an opportunity to really declare who we are, what we believe, and what we stand for? Because obviously at the beginning of the new year, we're all about change and transformation and manifestation. And it's easy to say, I'm going to put on this positive face because you have so much momentum around you. But what happens the first time you're knocked on your butt? And you really have to go back within and say, oh God, who am I? Who are you at your core? And what does it mean to be, to be still? So I was reminded that one of the things that I've been sharing in this book, I Love You Me, my journey from self-depression and finding real self-love, I found that first step of the attunement meditation process, which is just allow. That's step one in this 5-step method for bringing more peace and harmony to our head, our heart, our body, our brain, so that we can actually be in a positive space from which we can change our life and manifest good things for our health and so on. And again, it goes back to my medical training when I recognized that patients who were clicking the pain button, the pain medication, taking the heroin from my clients who would use substances, whether that's drugs or alcohol, including prescription medication, to food. People who they didn't want to deal with the pain. They didn't want to face it. They didn't either feel like they had the courage or it was just too painful. And it's like, okay, can you be with the pain and become the witness? Because I think when we collapse our identity with our fleshly body, this earthly existence, it's very easy for us to say, oh my God, this pain is unbearable. It should go away. I shouldn't be dealing with this. I should be up on my feet. I should be getting more work done. I should. But if you stepped back and thought, well, who am I really? I am the consciousness that enlivens this body. I'm not the body. And coming from that awareness, could you allow this moment to be exactly as it is? Could you, take 5 deep breaths slowly to bring some calm to your brain? Like literally taking 5 deep, slow breaths, like into the count of 6, holding it for 2, and then exhaling to the count of 6. That's going to turn on something that we call the relaxation response, which will lower your blood pressure, it lowers the heart rate, and it lowers your stress hormones. We don't think well. We tend to make bad decisions when we're stressed. And that's because these higher brain centers, and even wisdom from above, doesn't get in. When that lower brain is totally in fight, flight, freeze, or appease mode, we don't have access. So by taking 5 deep breaths and really getting centered, can you make an agreement with yourself to be present, even for just 5 minutes? Because I know if you are going through a serious craving or withdrawal or incredible pain, you may not like the idea of Andrea telling you to just, let it be. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about learning to make a connection with higher states of consciousness so that you can get the wisdom, you can actually channel more of your healing energy. This is what resilience is really all about. Resilience is this ability to bounce back after trauma and drama, after illness and injury or surgery. We can bounce back after these really painful circumstances even faster if we've trained ourselves. Like resilience is actually like a muscle. And the more you do it, the more you build up these positive resources of insight, intuition, the ability to heal, the ability to be adaptable and flexible, the ability to not lose your cool, and the ability to be present as a witness to your pain without making the pain like the center of all of your focus and your consciousness. So while I look at these comments, let's take some 5 deep breaths together because I'm missing some. Let's see. Okay. So Janet says, uncomfortable with the chaos. Wow. Time to transition to walk comfortably, confidently in the peace, in the chaos. Yeah, that's what one of your other co-authors in Time to Rise says. We've got to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. And that means, this is Todd Malloy that I'm quoting. We have to just recognize that life is going to have these ups and downs. It's going to be rocky. And so becoming that non-judgmental witness that can say, wow, this sucks right now. And I have to be comfortable. And I really do see it as being able to surf. For many of us who've taken the mindfulness-based approach to life or any of the training for mindfulness and meditation, there's this concept that we can allow our emotions to rise up and be experienced, be seen, be felt, be named, and not get carried away by them, such that you learn to kind of surf. You're surfing. Okay, there's this wave of intensity and emotion, but rather than trying to squeeze it down, hide it, medicate it away, judging it or yourself, it's like, whoa, let it rise and take note of it and see how quickly you can let it fall away. So Shimoni says, getting the lesson or message is key, or else every method will only be a temporary or symptomatic relief. Well said. Thank you. So look at the pain with grace and stillness. Yes, Dr. Janet, that is it. Melvin says his bedroom is a dead zone. No electronics, only the heater that's built in. Pillows in the corner to sit. Nice. It's been the best sleep. And that's what so many of us in this little movement are saying about our bedroom becoming a sacred space again. That's for, deep intimacy and sleep. Take the work out of there. It's good feng shui, as they say. So, hey, Shelley, good to see you here again. You had to hit the wall and slow down to find your authentic self. But isn't that scripture? In our weakness, his power is made manifest. Boom! Yeah! And that's why I keep saying this, be still and know that I am God, right? So it's in being still that you recognize your true I am. And who are you at your core? You're not your body. You're not that disease. You're not that neurotic person who can't get over the fact that you're unplugged from work or unplugged from the one you love. You are the consciousness. You are the witness to that. And the more that time that we're able to spend in meditation or in quietness and stillness to connect to your true source, the more that's going to get strengthened. So in step 1 of the attunement meditation process, we take those 5 deep breaths just first to bring calm to the brain, because 5 deep, slow breaths turns off that stress response. And giving yourself permission to do it, even if it's only 5 minutes. And you're saying, okay, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go back to obsessing. Okay, little by little, you're going to get to 10 minutes, and then you're going to get to an hour. So start with that first 5 minutes where you take those deep breaths, and then the allow, this first step is called allow. Allow yourself to become conscious of whatever's going on in your body or mind. Meaning, if I'm feeling pain in my body, I start to locate it. Where is that pain? Does that pain have an intensity on a scale of 0 to 10? Does it have a color? If it were a color or a shape, what would that be? Does that pain move or does it stay still? Is it heavy? Is it sharp? Is it dull? So literally describing the pain and locating it in your body. And as you're doing some of the deep breathing, I generally recommend that you breathe in and imagine that you're directing that breath or light or chi, that universal healing energy, right to that pain as you're learning to get in touch with it and describe it. By allowing yourself to name it, to visualize it, to see it and describe it, you're already creating a bit of distance between you and the pain. You are not the pain. You're the witness to it. And then, as you're sitting there, very calmly being with that pain, ask it, is there a message here? Do you have anything to communicate? And that can be the same as, emotional pain. Okay, I'm really feeling angry, or I'm feeling frustration, or I'm feeling hurt or abandoned. I'm feeling anxious, I'm feeling tense, whatever it is, describe it. What is the intensity of it on a scale of 0 to 10? Does it have an intensity? Does it move? If it is anxiety, does it also have a body component? Like, is it jittery stomach? Is it tension in your jaws? Is it tension in your neck? And so as you start to define that, the key here is not to judge it. You're not judging the pain, and you're not judging yourself for having it. And this is the thing that I know is quite a challenge for many people on the spiritual path, because we have these ideals, this spiritual ideal that we shouldn't have pain, or we shouldn't be angry, we shouldn't be jealous, we shouldn't be resentful. We should. There's all that should that just weighs us down. So instead, it's about just saying, whoa, okay, this is what's present, and acknowledging it without all of the judgment. And if you feel yourself judging, become a witness to the judgment. In other words, say, oh, wow, there I go judging myself, making myself wrong, making myself out to be the bad person. I'm bad, I'm weak, I'm lame, I'm stupid, I'm unspiritual, I'm a backslider, whatever. Name it, because then you're also recognizing that you're not that. You're not the lame, sinner, backslider, whatever. You're the consciousness that's observing that this earthly manifestation has done some stuff. So that's really this first phase. It's, can you allow yourself to be present as the non-judgmental witness to what's going on, and then ask it, what's the message here? What do I need to learn? What do I need to see? What are you trying to communicate to me? Because if pain could be looked at as just a warning sign, like a light that would be going off in your car telling you, you need oil, check your tires, you need a tune-up. if you could look at it that way with less judgment, it could be like, whoa, this is a warning sign that I'm off course. Because the human body is meant to heal and return to a state of vitality. Even if we get knocked down with surgery or an illness or something, the human body is programmed at a DNA level to bounce back, to come back to homeostasis, where our body starts to renew and get rid of any dirt, debris, or illness. We're designed for that. So yes, Shelley, it does get easier with practice. And that's why I say that this attunement process meditation, if you do it for just 5 minutes, just practicing that over and over again, you start to recognize it. Even when you're not in meditation, you're just like, you can see yourself going, ooh, I'm doing it again. I'm judging myself. Oh, I'm obsessing again. So it's just that presence that is what we need to make contact with. So after this first phase or first step, which is allow the emotions, the thoughts, the feelings, the judgments to come up so that they can be recognized, be named, and be acknowledged for whatever message they have to give. Then if you're really ready to let go, the first step to letting go of that and hopefully clearing any past karma that might have brought that on is recognizing that you deserve love and compassion, even if you caused the drama. Okay, I've been there. I've caused some drama. And I know it's challenging to get to that state of accepting that we deserve love and compassion, but that's the next step. So the next step of the attunement process is called attune, where you literally imagine that you could tune in to radio station WLUV that's broadcasting love, compassion, and total acceptance. For people in the mindfulness community, we often say, imagine that there is this non-judgmental, wise, loving being, which could be the Buddha, the Christ, Muhammad, your grandmother who's passed on, or a figure who's still living. Just imagine that they are sending unconditional love and acceptance to you. And as you practice this idea of compassion, I literally ask for people to put their hands on their heart and just be present to this idea that you deserve to get through this without suffering. Pain in life is inevitable, unless you have complete nerve damage and you don't feel pain anymore. Pain as a human is inevitable. Suffering, on the other hand, is optional. We don't have to suffer, and we certainly don't have to suffer for long. So by being able to just put your hand on your heart and say, wow, may I get through this without suffering. May I be free from suffering. May I be truly at ease. May I be truly well in body, mind, and heart. And again, if you can't yet say it to yourself, you imagine that this loving presence is sending those wishes to you. Or again, if you were tuned into a radio station and you were hearing and feeling those waves of love and compassion being directed for you, saying, I know this sucks, I know this hurts. Wow, I'm with you, I see you, and I wish you to be well. When you can get to that point, it's much easier for you to forgive yourself and to let go of the shame or the pain, the guilt, the frustration. It's recognizing, wow, I'm human. I'm having a really painful human moment, but I'm not the pain, and it's going to go away. And I can just be here for a moment. So, after we can tune into compassion, the next step is to align. We align our mind with the mind of the divine. I think of it as align your mind with your higher self. Could be aligning your mind with God. Remember when people used to write WWJD, like what would Jesus do? You know, you could insert any other wise figure and be able to say, okay, I may have my desire for how things should turn out, but if I'm attached to that, it's like having blinders on. When you're so rigidly attached to one way for things to work out, you miss all of the other opportunities for getting you what you really need or getting you where you really want to be. So by saying, okay, even if it's only for 5 minutes, I'm not saying you have to do this forever. I know it's hard as you're learning and practicing, but being able to say, okay, let me align my mind with a higher state of consciousness. Let me let go of my ego and I know how this should work out, and saying, okay, not my will, but thy will be done. And I love that line from the Course in Miracles, which is asking at the beginning of the day or at the beginning of a meditation, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? It's like a prayer of openness where you're literally letting go of your way to have things done and accepting a higher state of wisdom. So step 3 of the attunement meditation is to align your mind with the mind of love, peace, God, however you want to describe that. But it's allowing yourself to let go of your fixed agenda and opening up. And yes, Janet, you can think of Dr. Andrea sending it to you. You know, I'm always doing that. And I'm so grateful that many of you in my tribe have felt confident enough and candid enough to say, okay, Andrea, I'm having a moment. Can you send me some positive healing energy? And we can all do that. We can all beam out this desire that others not suffer. We can all beam this love and compassion. And again, it's just one of those things that takes practice. I keep saying that just because I spent hours and hours in meditation and doing Qigong, I've been really inspired by seeing the work of Lynn McTaggart, who wrote The Bond, The Intention Experiment, and most recently The Power of 8, where she had done all of these experiments where people would get together and they would consciously desire or wish or intend that a member of the group be healed. You know, some of these people have really serious diseases and other stuff. And the thing that was so cool about her most recent book is that now, after doing this for so many years with people around the world, where we have literally gathered together to send the intention of peace or healing, many people were then reporting that as they were doing these meditations, they felt what she's calling a boomerang effect, that they felt lighter, they felt healthier, they felt more peaceful and at ease. So in being so compassionate and unselfish to send out love, it's because we're connected, because we are one family, we get what we give. So think about that. We can all do this. And the other cool thing about her most recent book, The Power of 8, is that they were finding that y'all don't have to spend the hours in meditation that I do. You know, as a Qigong practitioner, learning how to do all these magical healing processes, but it's just the power of your intention. So by taking these deep breaths and connecting with your own heart and with the heart of the divine or the heart of Mother Earth or just this presence of love which is always here, we can then wish and intend that others be benefited. And I was recently at the Meditation Museum in Silver Spring, Maryland, and out at Tyson's, Virginia, with Sister Dr. Jenna. And she's the director of the Brahma Kumari's meditation centers. And at the end of I think it was last Sunday when we did The Art of Letting Go. And you can check out that video, watch it in its entirety. It was really great. We were joined by Dr. Smita Patel, who's a psychiatrist, and we were talking about how to let go of these toxic thoughts, particularly if they're perpetuating anxiety. But one of the last things that Sister Jenna said was, you know what? As you're learning all of this stuff, if there are difficult people in your life or difficult people in the media, on TV, rather than getting caught up in the negativity, just wish that these people are benefited. Like, get out of our egoic mind that says people ought to be doing da-da-da-da-da, and just say, you know what? May they be free from suffering. Because at a soul level, that's what they need. Most of them wouldn't be doing what they're doing if they weren't in pain. Do you hear the Christmas music? It's joy to the world. So here at my godmother's house, they have this clock that's been in the family for eves. Can you hear it? Hello, and nature sing. So that was just joy to the world. So every hour, on the hour, it plays a different Christmas carol. So can you imagine? There's like 12 different ones. Anyway, so it's 1 o'clock here on the East Coast, and that was joy to the world. So imagine, just let's think about those lyrics. Joy to the world. What if we did beam out from our heart joy to the world? Let every heart make room for the presence of the divine and spread joy. Perfect timing, I feel. So that's where I am today. I just wanted to share a little bit about this idea that I know how it feels to be going through pain and wishing it was gone and wanting to do anything in your power to make it go away. But I want to remind you that that's part of the human experience, and none of us is immune. I've been dealing with it too. I have a lot on my plate, and I've had to accept that for the next couple of weeks, there's not a lot getting done in the way that I would normally like to. Because right now, my daughter is the priority, so being on phone calls and driving around and getting everything ready, I've had to surrender. And as I woke up, because a couple of people in the house have been sick, so I wake up in the middle of the night hearing someone coughing, and the healer in me instantly starts going to do Qigong, like sending calming energy and, doing all my healing practice. I ain't been getting a whole lot of sleep. So I wake up a little bit like tired and groggy. But then I remember, okay, this is part of it. How can I just be present and patient and graceful and being really tuned in? It's as we all say, sometimes we gotta walk the talk. So I invite you to just really get present with yourself and ask, who am I? Can I dial into my spiritual awareness so that I can bring forth that state of grace, or I can enter into the grace that is always present for all of us, knowing that if we're going to bounce back, we want to be at our best, and we want to bounce back in a healthy way, not because we rushed to get that healing or used some other crutch, but because we were able to actually clear out the negativity, learning those lessons so that we're not perpetuating it. And I so look forward to bringing you some of these masterclasses for anyone who is curious and wants to learn how to actually live the 5-step principles outlined in this book. Then join us. We have a real self-love movement that is starting with people from around the world, multiple countries, multiple experts, multiple faiths represented. And my vision is really to support you on an ongoing basis with a variety of master classes, with group meditations, ways that we can all come together and start really tuning into this energy so that when the storms of life come, we stay connected to it. We may still react, we may still slip up, but remaining connected to that divine source, your core, means that when that debris and stuff is away, you're still standing in your virtues, in your true values as a spiritual being on this path. And hey, Jat, how are you, darling? Sending you lots of love and healing energy from the East Coast, the sunny East Coast. And that's what this community is about. So you can visit realself.love and get your hands on the book. It was great to see some pictures of y'all with a copy of the book. There's all sorts of free gifts like the guided meditations, some master classes with me, and other downloads if you get a copy of the book. And actually, I don't even know what I'm doing over here. I'm on this weird platform today. No funky cool stuff today because I just didn't have the opportunity. But I'm going to tell you that if you type in self-love book, if you go to my name in Messenger, go to @Dr. Andrea in Facebook Messenger. If you would like to get an autographed copy of the book, it's just $23. I am autographing today because it's a quiet day. I haven't been able to get to the post office because, again, I've had sick people to take care of. But I'm going to be delivering these anywhere in the world. So for $23, you get an autographed copy that covers shipping, and I'll send it to you. And later I'll be sharing, also thanks to Jatinder, who just typed in, because before he was asking me, like, how should we be, like, keeping track of our progress as we go through this? And one of the best ways to do that, in my opinion, is with a journal. So guess what I have? I have been dreaming and visualizing and desiring to manifest for you a special journal that would go along with my book and this whole real self-love process, because I really feel like the more consciousness and insight and awareness you bring to the process, where you can track your progress. Like, we don't give ourselves enough credit for how strong and powerful we are. And as you become aware of your strengths and your patterns, you will make progress. You will feel lighter. And sometimes when you do have a crummy day, you need to be able to go back to that journal and see how far you've come. And so I wanted to have this done for launch. It didn't happen because I've been doing too much. But I really want to have a journal that I can sell. So I've got, this is gray. That does not look gray on this. It's got gray and it's got little sparkles. So we've got some masculine colors. I've also got this beautiful red. I've got a lighter, brighter pinky red. Also has little sparkles in it. I don't have the link yet for you to buy it, but you can get a copy of the book and a journal of your choice. Oh, right, and this faux leather, because, you know, we're kind to animals. We don't do leather. But this faux leather one, here's a gray one, brown one, red one. You can get an autographed copy plus a journal. I have to create the special link for you. I was a little bit late today because, yeah. Anyway, just cause. But I want to support you. I want to support you, and I want you to be connected in this tribe of people in the real self-love movement. So if you look for our Facebook group, you'll find the real self-love movement, and that's a good thing because you need to be joined up with us, you know, hooked up with your peeps. That's us. So there you go. What questions do you have? I will stick around. I know I've been talking. It's one of those days. I have actually so missed connecting with you on Facebook Live that I have to laugh at myself because I'm like, I resisted this and had no clue as to what it was really gonna, I don't know, what it was going to mean or be for me. And now I'm like, oh, I miss you. I want to connect on Facebook Live. But today has really literally been the only day we've had quiet in the house. So I'm trying to find these links, and it ain't happening. mybad.com. I will find it for you at some point. So, questions? Anyone? What questions do you have? I'd love to hear them, love to answer them. Join our Real Self-Love group so that you can connect with people who will love you and see you as the beautiful, soulful being that you are, because that's what this is about. You need to be connected and not feel like you're alone. Because guess what? You are not alone. All right, so let's see. I do have a few things that I can share with you here, I think. Lord have mercy. Lord help me. I'm using this funky little platform that I really, really love, but I have not yet mastered it, especially on the fly. So I'm posting here in the chat how you can get an autographed copy of I Love You Me. I don't yet have the link ready for you to get, the 2 for deal, but I will, so stay tuned for that. You can get gifts, the free gifts with purchase of the book by visiting realself.love. But on Facebook Messenger, I've given you the link where you can interact with us on Facebook Messenger so that you can get the special deal. And I will autograph it, I will mail it anywhere in the world, and yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. So what have y'all said? Lots of thumbs up and hearts. Yay! Which practice has had the greatest impact on my journey towards becoming more kind and loving to myself? That answer is very, very simple, and that is the compassion meditation. So if you go to, I'll have to type it in. Anyway, the compassion meditation, in the Buddhist tradition, it's called the metta or loving kindness meditation. You know me, I'm kind of a nerd. You know this, Shelley. I love the fact that it's actually been documented. So practicing the compassion meditation changes the brain. So remember how I was talking about resilience, and it's literally like a muscle that gets strengthened? By practicing the compassion meditation, you change the wiring in your brain. It's like those grooves in our brain that are wired for negativity, we can change them and start creating more kindness and compassion toward ourselves. And so the compassion meditation has probably been the most pivotal for me because I had so much judgment, self-judgment, self-hatred going on in my head from the voices. I started talking about voices at the beginning of this Facebook Live, but I'm talking about the internalized judges. I literally called them the Supreme Court justices, because there were, you would have thought there were 12 judges in my head judging my behavior, my appearance, what was good enough, what I didn't do well enough. And by learning this compassion meditation, which you can do completely for free if you go, I'm going to type in the link for that as well. attunementmeditation.com/compassion. The attunement meditation is the 5-step thing. I only got to step 3 today. You can also download that for free. But if you go to attunementmeditation.com/compassion, you can take the 21-day compassion meditation challenge. The compassion meditation challenge will send you every day an email with a beautiful, inspiring quote and a guided audio meditation with something to reflect on about this idea of getting into compassion, and then how you can actually listen to or just read the compassion meditation. So you can listen to me. I have a guided meditation. Let's see if I can find it for you. So there's a compassion meditation audio. You can listen to me reciting it to you over and over, so that you literally do it along with us. And it's nice because you can either do the short version, which is just a few minutes, which teaches you how to get into that state of compassion and self-compassion, or you can, ooh, that's really huge. That ain't working. You can listen to the longer version. So if you have a day, either in the morning or in the evening or at your lunch break, that you want to spend maybe 25 minutes, the deeper, longer guided meditation is really wonderful at tapping into that space of compassion, which leads to the forgiveness and the releasing of judgment and shame and guilt. That one's been huge for me because I think at the core of my depression and really the underpinning of a lot of the anxiety that I suffered, it was because I didn't accept myself. I didn't think that I was worthy of praise or all of the good things that were happening to me, because I just didn't think I was good enough. I didn't think I'd done enough. And there was this sense of judgment that was always present. And I think that's why it was so, so, so helpful. Have I thought about doing a Facebook Live demonstrating the process of the compassion meditation? No, but that's a good idea. Should we do that? Should we do it as a group? Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I'd love to do that. So yeah, we could go through the compassion meditation together. So I'll work that out. And then it'll be nice because then the video will be there and you can do it anytime. Anytime. So my friends, it has been lovely to connect with you again. Here it is, over an hour once again. I thought I was going to do like 30 minutes and be on to the next, but no, that didn't happen. Thank you for sticking with me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part of this beautiful tribe of loving, heart-centered, conscious peeps. That's all I can say. Just thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Just know that I am continuously beaming love and compassion and gratitude at you and for you. And I pray that you are enveloped with beautiful sparkling chi that can help you heal, that can help you return to your state of grace and knowing who you really are. But most importantly, getting that insight and awareness of who you are and why what's going on in your life is going on in your life. I look forward to connecting with you in the Real Self-Love movement. Just visit realself.love to get all of the gifts with your purchase, and then you'll start to hear about these master classes and videos that we do with other experts around the world who will each share their own perspective and other modalities that can really, really help you shift, transform, and thrive. So I thank you all for being here. I saw my friend Anya Bolbjerg was here as well, who's getting ready for the Olympics. She's going to be doing a Facebook Live show too that's going to be completely fun and very, very different. So, yes, I know, Dr. Janet, we have already determined that 30 minutes is impossible. I just don't know that that's necessarily... Anyway, okay, fine, 30 minutes is impossible. I don't know, actually, Sister Dr. Jenna, who broadcasts live on Saturdays and Sundays, when we did the Art of Letting Go, I was like, wow, that was over an hour, and she has people from all over the world tuning in. So why not? Why not have an hour with my peeps? There it is. So if you need anything from me, you just send me a message. Know that because I'm on the road, I may not be as fast to respond as usual, but I am always, always with you. So thank you for being here with me too. All right? I am sending you tons of love from the East Coast of the United States. And for those of you in our personal branding bootcamp, I will see you for the live Q&A this Wednesday at 1 o'clock Eastern. That's 6 o'clock for you in the UK, 7 o'clock for my Central European peeps. Looking forward to that, where we can help you tune in and dial into your authentic self so that you can share your message with the world as an authentic personal brand. If you want info about that, you can send me a private message, and I will hook you up with that info as well, so you can join the Personal Branding Bootcamp if you're so inclined. All right, my friends, have a beautiful, beautiful week. It's only Monday. Hey, if everything goes well this week and I get my little one situated in school, I might be back to you. Hopefully I will. If any of you are in the D.C. area, this Saturday, Sienna and I will be in the D.C. area at the Meditation Museum for a vegan cooking class. That's going to be awesome sauce. And any of you who are in California or want to fly to California, my dear friend Karina Virginia, the empowerment guru and yogi who wrote the foreword to my book, I'm so grateful and honored. She and I are teaching the Inner Bliss for Sensual Vitality Retreat at 1440 Multiversity in the Redwoods of California. That's going to be a fabulous retreat, February 4th through the 9th. So I will be in California then. So many of you have also asked about upcoming retreats, I'm working on it. I can only focus as much as I can focus, once the family's straight, we'll be straight, and I'll release those dates. But yeah, we're going to be doing lots of good stuff, and I'm just excited to connect with you wherever in the world we may connect. So much, much love to you, and I will see you again soon. Bye.